So before we work on the F250, because that's an easy project, we're going to change the oil in the Kubota and the fuel filter in both these things. The Kubota's a little bit more complicated because you can't just get under. It's got a floor pan underneath it. You got to take that off. That takes a few minutes, and you've got to grease everything on all the axles and all that kind of stuff. I know, blah, 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 the suspension parts. It's not hard to do, but what I've learned is it's easiest to jack it up a few feet in the air, then take the wheels off, and then grease everything. You can reach everything better. Also, what I'm going to do is I always pressure spray underneath it because we do use this thing. It's not a street machine. It gets used pretty heavily in the woods. It's a great machine, but we pressure wash underneath it. And to be effective, it's best to have the bottom off. So let me get started and jack this bad boy up. All right, I can't imagine this will be too exciting for anybody, but it's got to get done. And we get smarter as we do this. Well, I don't know about that. But let's jack her up and we'll put some blocks under it. All right, let's see what we got here for jack points. Wonderful. We've got these beautiful 8x8s, which are perfect for this. Put one right here. So anyway you look at it, sadly or fortunately, I don't do this enough. I do it once a year. That's plenty. And of course, they look like 10 millimeters, they look like 13s, 12 millimeters for the little bolts that hold the pans on the bottom of these guys. So let me take the pan off here. All right, so real quick, not that anybody cares, there's two pans. There's this front pan here and the back pan here. And you got to take off both of these pans to access the oil filter easily and to drain the oil out. Now, I'm sure a real mechanic can do it easier than I can, but I like to take these off because I'm going to pressure wash under here also. So let me get cracking on that. I have no idea what you can see or what you can't see. And I assume this would be boring as hell for most people, but let me get it done. Was that exciting? Watching Wayne wrench. Now this next one's gonna drop it down some, so watch your face here, girls. What I tell you, right on my head, of course. I'd rather not lose the bolt, but I got it. Okay, so now we got that down. And yes, I have a lift, but putting this on a lift, it's a 2-post lift. If it was a wheeled lift, it might work actually. But for this, it's just a pain, so I don't do it. I'd much rather get all the dirt and debris in my face and head. Okay. All right, so there you go. Whew. So, one of the other reasons I like doing it this way, frankly, is it gives me a chance to check all the hose connections and everything else that's underneath here. So it gives you a little bit of a peek, a little look-see under here, see if there's any issues, damage. We have had problems before. So the next pan that comes off is the one for the oil pan. It covers the oil pan, and I hope I did this correctly. I think I did. We'll see in a second whether I have the high end at the right spot or the low spot. But there's the oil filters right there. Can you see that? Yep, the little white thing's the oil filter. Let me jack up the back and do a little bit more. All right, so now is the easy part. Hopefully this is recording. This is a 15 millimeter. Shocking they didn't make it like 13 and a half or something silly like that. I don't know why they would, whatever. There we go. And one of the suggestions of you guys, take the little cap off this guy, and that way when oil comes out very quickly, it will not overflow and flood my little thing here. It's actually, somebody was thinking about that. I wish I thought of that. It's pretty good. But it doesn't work if you have too much oil, but if you don't have too much, it'll work just swimmingly well. Now, if anybody knows how to do this without getting oil on my fingers, please advise, because I don't know. we go. Oil is coming out nicely. So it's actually dribbling out pretty slowly, but it will speed up momentarily as soon as I release the cover on the oil, on the oil fill side. So let me go do that, because right now I got oil on my hands. You don't want me to get dirt on the camera, probably. All right, so now it's time to do this oil filter. This isn't too bad. It's conveniently located on the passenger side of the vehicle. You can access it from underneath or up top. So we'll access it and drain her out. So let me see if I can get this thing on here. So we're kind of multitasking. Well, actually, we don't multitask. Nobody does. But the oil's draining out. It's almost done. I got the new filter on. I'll let it drip a little bit more before I put the cap on it. But I like to take the wheels off when I grease this thing, because it's just way easier to reach everything. So, and the electric impact wrench works great, but frankly, once in a while, the snap-off one works better. Slowest pit stop you've ever seen, but now the wheels are off. So now I will probably pressure wash things down and clean it up, and then I'll grease it. Maybe I'll put the oil in first. Let's see. And let's see if it starts like a Honda, like it always does. It's a Honda. What do you expect? So one of the things we do, and it seems pretty dumb, is these little tin pieces of plate under here. I label them, because sometimes it's not always intuitive where they go. And you lay them out and put them in the right direction where they're supposed to be. Time to put the oil drain pan thing back in. And I'm sure you all know this, never use impact wrenches on this. 60,000 years of being alive, I haven't stripped one out yet. But start them by hand and finish them by hand and torque them by hand. I'm sure there's a spec for this. Tight. You want it nice and tight. It's kind of like a German bra, nice and tight. And that's it. The oil pan is sealed up, new gasket on. All right, well, hopefully you can see this okay. If not, watch another movie. So we need to get grease on this control arm here, or this, whatever they call this thingamajigger. Get grease on this guy here. And we will try the Rinkin tool this time and see if that works any better than the hand pump tool. Still probably gonna run out of grease in 2 minutes. Let's see here. First one. All right. Ready, aim, squeeze. Ooh. Nice. That worked swimmingly well. Getting a cap off. Now these caps, by the way, these squeeze caps, you've seen them for sale all over the place. They are most excellent. Grease is coming out. There we go. There's those two. And what I'll do now, just because Paula gets amused when all this grease gets on the floor. So let me try to get some of this muck off of here. Or it leaks out. This job requires at least one roll of paper towels. And to be a good mechanic or technician, clean them off when you're done. Do it right. I think that looks good. I got a little bit of grease back here. There you go, some old grease, some new grease. You can see why I take the wheels off. It's way easier to reach in here. Otherwise, it's a real nuisance to reach in there. And I use this green grease. Do not want the cheapest grease you can get. Lucas makes a good grease. Green grease is waterproof, and it's sticky, and it doesn't turn to water. So I kind of like it. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Next two. They say to grease this thing up like every 40 hours or 50 hours. It's ridiculous. It gets it once a year. There we go. There we go. Oh man, ooh-wee. That looks nice. All right, and now for the other side. All right, so now we're onto the front right side. Let's hopefully this will go as good as the left side did. Let's see, looks like we got one here. Good. Grease is coming out. Good, I like it. Trying to reach these guys with a tire on here is not very easy. All right. Grease coming out. All right, let's get this side here. You see it's working because grease comes out the top, a couple drips of water, which is why we have grease in here. See that water dripping down? And now grease. That's what Paul likes the most. When the grease drips down. All right. So in addition to the suspension, you got a couple things in here. You got to grease this little dash pot thingy, this arm here, and you got to grease this guy up here. So with no further ado, let's get her done. Nice. Come around there, beauteous. what it is. Yeah. There's almost 3. Now, I think we're done greasing. So we're done greasing this guy, and like I said, don't be a schmuck. Thanks to Eric O's suggestion from South Main Auto Repair. I like his channel. Wipe off the excess grease if you can. There you go. And this is a good opportunity to just take a peek in here and make sure everything looks good. I think we're good. I think our next step is to put oil in it and change a fuel filter. So let's get cracking, jacking. All right, I had our RTFM here, read the flipping manual. It says this holds 4.3 quarts. Last memo I got is 1 gallon is 4 quarts. And we use Shell Rotella T4, not a sponsor. So let me put some of this stuff in here. Make sure my funnel is clean as it can be. Let her rip. And what I'll do is I'll run this a little bit afterwards, check it again, because 4.3, give me a break. 1/3 of a gallon, I guess, or 1/3 of a quart. A few ounces more. So that's 4 quarts. Let me see if I can find 0.3 quarts here. 32 ounces per quart, 0.3. Sounds like about 10.333, whatever it is. A little more oil. There you go. There we go. Alrighty. Now let's see if we can change the fuel filter and put things back together, and we're done. So now it's time for the fuel filter. So check out your gas tank. Underneath the gas tank, directly underneath it, and to the right, it's hidden down here. Not hidden, but here's where it is. If you got really good grip, you can pull it off. Sometimes you need a little bit of help pulling it off, and that's the story, and I'm sticking with it. So let me yank this thing off and get cranking here. All right, hope you're all comfortable here. So the idea here is you just take this and twist this guy off. Huh, shocking. I could do it with my hand, which that never happens. So let me just get the drip container out of here, because I'm sure I will drip some fuel, contributing towards our toxic waste dump. All right, so by the way, hope it's the right part number. Here's a Kubota 6 Alpha 320-55 or -59930, made in Thailand. Element fuel filter. All right, so let's get cracking. This is usually not a lot of drama, and this is smart enough so that when you unscrew it, the fuel doesn't all come out. Go. Nice. All right. And I usually like to inspect this fairly carefully. So let me, oops, there's my O-ring. Let's keep that where that is. And let's see what we got here. This filter looks remarkably clean, so I don't even know. I change it anyway because it's free. It's not free, but doesn't cost a whole lot of time to change it. Does not come with a new O-ring. Come on, guys. Really? This filter's in good shape. I've seen it sometimes where there's some debris in the bottom. There's no official water separator here, so they get a little bit of water in them. I'm sure they charged me $3,000 for this filter. You wouldn't you think they would have just thrown in a 2-cent O-ring here? Really, guys? Whatever. Not bad, it's actually a pretty good design. And some fuel drips down so my filter's full. Dripping down my arm, of course. There we go, hand tight. All right, nice. It's full of fuel. Excellent. So the next step here is to put my wheels on and then put the bottom metal plates on. Not necessarily in that order. So good deal. So oil's changed, oil filter's been replaced, fuel filter's been replaced. All you do is button things up. Alrighty, let's put some wheels on. Let's put these guys on. I am not a NASCAR tire changer. They sent me an email last week saying I got fired because I refused to drink Bud Light. Well, I never drank it anyway. Alrighty, well, let's wrap it up here. We will start and check the oil filter. Not the oil filter, the oil level. Make sure we got oil in it. But let me get the jacks down. Let's see if she starts up. What do you think? Contact. Oil pressure light went off, so I'd say that's a good thing. But let me check the oil level. And then put labels on this thing saying that we serviced it, change oil filter, fuel filter, and then we're gonna call it quits. A good day's work. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. A little bit different than sawing logs. If you liked it, say so. If you didn't like it, you say so too. But it takes a lot of effort to do a video like this when you're actually working, because I got to keep starting the video. It's I have to go and edit it too. Take out the F-bombs and the like ums and the and all that stuff. So so that's the way it is. But I hope you enjoyed these guys. This is just what we do all day. Next is the 88 Ford, the F250. Time for its annual oil change.